Hello everybody, it's me, Nikki. That was a weird wave, sorry. And I am here today to do the ratings and reviews tag. I saw this over at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. I really adore their channel, and I think this is a really fun tag to do. So question one is to tag people. I'm going to tag Mr. Francie Reads, Reed Becca, Librarian of Alexandria. Who else? Rosie. And anybody else who wants to do it, basically. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. Question number 2. How do you know you've just finished a good book? Is it a thinking or feeling response? It's a feeling response. Like, it's like sort of like, not like indigestion or anything, but like, right here in your heart, makes your tummy happy, especially if it's a good book and there's like more to come. So yeah, it just makes me feel like happy. Number 3, when you begin to form your review or rating, what is the first question you ask yourself? Lately, my first question is, could this be triggering to people? Like, the book I just finished sort of set off my anxiety, and it's kind of a spoiler, but I think if you have really bad anxiety about certain concepts, then it's probably good for you to know ahead of time what's going to happen. And it was a space book, so some things happen in space that shouldn't. And if you're like afraid of space, but you still like sci-fi, I am terrified of the thought of the vacuum of space, but I love reading sci-fi. Or, like, it doesn't trigger me. Like, in the first book of the Girls of Paper and Fire, there were, like, sexual assault, essentially, overtones, and that's never happened to me, so that doesn't trigger me. But I know that would trigger somebody else who might potentially read this book. So I do think about triggers. I try to write those down as well, so it's like, remember these things to talk about. And then I usually ask myself, why do you think it was good? So, yeah. I'm trying to work on that. Number 4, do you do star ratings? Why or why not? I do on Goodreads, and I do on Cawpile, but I don't usually tell people that. I guess I should start doing that. I think it's like subjective, really. Like, I've known a couple people who didn't like, the Girls of Paper and Fire series, or the Chorus of Dragons, I think it's called. But I did, so, like, my number is different than other people's number. But I guess I'll start saying it, because I put it into places. And then there's 2 follow-ups. So if you use star ratings and if you don't, explain your star rating system. What does a good book get in your rating system? 1 star. First of all, there's 0 stars, which is usually a DNF. 1 star is, it wasn't that great. 2 star was like, also wasn't that great. 3 star is average. 4 star is good to great, I guess. And then 5 star is obviously perfect, I love it, whatever. And is your star rating consistent? I.e., are all your 5-star books better than all your 4-star books? Probably not. I'm pretty, like, my One Piece manga, I give all 5 stars because I adore them and it can do no wrong, in my opinion. Mostly I give 4 stars to a lot of books, and it usually gets 5 stars if it's, like, my absolute favorite. So whether, like, One Piece is better than any book in the Expanse series, I don't know, but that's just how I give my stars. And I'm also going to answer the no question because I have never given star ratings on my channel before. So what language do you use to convey the quality of a book in your reviews? Oh, I'm pretty bad at that. I tend to use the same words over and over repetitively because I should just open a thesaurus and write the words down, quite frankly. But I try to say, like, I don't really do that, do I? I don't say, like, the writing was good. If the writing wasn't good, I would tell you. So, I assume most people know the writing is good, or I thought it was good. I think the only time I've been overly talkative about the writing was in the N.K. Jemisin book I talked about, which I thought was great. So I'm trying to get better at that. That's part of my goal. Does this form an informal rating or ranking? Probably. Like, and it's not usually the language I use. It's the amount of time I talk about a book. If I liked it more, I will talk about it more. Number 5, do you believe every book has its perfect reader? Does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? I think, I don't know, what's A Little Life by that author whose name has escaped me. Some people really like it and some people really hate it. So I don't know if there can ever be there probably is an objectively bad book that everybody's like, this is fucking garbage. But like, the one that comes to mind that I've seen a lot on a lot of, like, worst books is The Maidens. A lot of people really hated that book. But I'm sure it's also on somebody's, like, best, you know? So, maybe every book does have its perfect reader. But I don't know if a book, like, you know what I mean? That's a really complicated question. I think a book can be bad and people can still like it, you know? Like, there are some, like, books that people know are garbage and they're like, I don't care, like, anyway. Like, or, like, there's some movies that you know are just schlocky garbage, but you're like, I don't care, it makes me happy. Number 6, what book that you hated have you recommended? None. I don't believe. If I don't like a book, I don't tell people to read it. I don't know why you would do that. I guess if you hate someone. I don't think I have, no. This is me with my thinking face. I don't think I have. So we'll just go on. Number 7, what makes a book good, bad, or great by your evaluation? I think it goes back to the first question. What response is it? How it makes me feel. Like, if I get, like, especially if it ends on a cliffhanger, you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens. Or you're like, oh my god, I have to know what happens. And a bad book, if it ends on a cliffhanger, it's like, oh, I don't really care. They can all die. You know what I mean? Or if it's a good book, like, a good book is just average. 3-star. And you're like, eh. And, like, if you kind of want to know, but you don't want to pick it up, you go to, like, the library or something, that type of thing. So, like, and it all, like, if you want to buy it, the next book in the series, basically. Number 8. When evaluating the quality of a book, do you have specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider? Does this change if you are writing an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book for enjoyment? I think I usually look at maybe not character development, but how they're written, if that makes sense. Because sometimes you can like a book if the characters are garbage, but the plot is really good. But sometimes the characters are all that's holding it together. And if they suddenly change, then the book becomes really bad. And I think for in-depth reviews, which I don't always do a lot of, you have to look at a lot of things. You have to look at character development and even plot development, or even how, like, characters are portrayed, because some are portrayed really badly and you're supposed to like them and you're like, I don't understand this at all. So yeah, I don't know if I explained that well at all. Number 9, do you consider star ratings or average ratings when choosing books to read or add to your TBR? Sometimes, like if it's a popular book and I've added it, and then I'll read like reviews. I always like to read the 5-star reviews and the 1-star reviews, because usually you can get spoilers in a 1 or 2-star review. And I love spoilers for books because my anxiety cannot handle not knowing, especially if something bad is going to happen. So, but I don't consider, I guess I don't consider it overall. But sometimes you're like, oh, that's not a good review, or that's not a good star rating for a book I haven't read yet. Let's find out why people don't like it. Number 10, who on BookTube does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you know you can use to decide if a book is for you or not? What makes their reviews so good? I'm sure there are people out there but I cannot think of. A lot of booktubers I follow don't do just book reviews of like single books at a time. But the ones I do follow, if they're doing a wrap up and they're talking about a book that is sort of in my wheelhouse, and they're like, it's great, you should try it, I'll probably try it. And they're, I don't know if that's a review, but it's like their enthusiasm of the book makes me more interested. And conversely, if it's a book I was interested in and they're like, it's utter garbage, do not pick it up, and they go on a rant about it, like, oh, well, then I probably won't be reading it. Sometimes I'll give it a shot, just to see. But if a lot of people I follow say the book is garbage, I'll probably not even try it. And number 11, does the booktubers that do, suddenly I don't know how to read. Booktubers use different language than you to evaluate and review the overall quality of a book. Does that booktuber use a different language? Oh, for number 10. Okay. I had to read that a couple times. Yeah, most of the booktubers I watch who do reviews or wrap-ups, they definitely use different language. I feel like they're more articulate than I am. I feel like even when I make notes, I feel like I'm just babbling and I don't make any sense. And I think the others do a better job at expressing and explaining things than I do, so that's why I don't do a lot of reviews, because I'm really bad at it. But maybe if I just keep doing it, it'll get better. Anyway, those are the questions. I hope you do the tag. I hope you enjoyed the video. I also hope you're having a very lovely day today. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.